Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe Ariel, an adventurous entrepreneur who loves to make the most out of life. I'm a certified professional life coach, digital course creator, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, angels. Welcome back to Note to Self. In today's Note to Self, I am going to be sharing with you how I interrupt family dynamics. So what I mean by this is, how do I interrupt and change the way that my dynamics or my relationships are operating in family and or friendships? Like, you can really use this for any relationship in your life, but I think a lot of you will be able to resonate with what I'm about to share in this story time around family dynamics. But how do we interrupt our own patterns to allow for deeper connections and more relaxed and easy ways of being? So let me get into my story time here. So right now I'm living in Bali, Indonesia, and in just over a week's time of recording this podcast, my parents, my dad and my stepmother, are coming to visit me in Bali. And I'm so incredibly excited to have them here because I miss them a lot and I'm excited to show them Bali. And I just think it's going to be so much fun. One thing that happened though was last week, my dad's incredibly organized and efficient and just likes to be on top of everything. And he had sent me a message in our family group chat that was like, "Hey Zoe, can you give me a call? We've got a lot to discuss about the trip." And I had been in conversation with them naturally quite a lot about organizing this trip to Indonesia. I've helped my dad and my stepmom organize their visa, organizing everything on the other side here in Bali, etc., etc. And I received that text message in the morning from my dad before I was delivering one of my Write Your Story workshops. And what I recognized in myself is that when I got that message from my dad, I was feeling into this energy of urgency. Like, I felt like my dad needs me to answer him right now. I need to answer him right now. But really, that's not the truth. Really, the priority for Zoe in that moment was taking care of my vibe and being excited and pumping myself up for my workshop that I was creating and going live for. And so what I did was I recognized, okay, I'm a little bit triggered in this moment because I feel like I'm feeling into my father's urgency. Like I said, my dad loves to be on top of things. My dad's the type of person that's at the airport like 4 hours early, even though like you, for the most part, only have to be there like 2 hours or even 1 hour early. I recognize that this is actually a pattern that often triggers me in my relationship with my father, is that my dad shows up with this energy of urgency and needing answers, needing clarification, needing to be organized, needing to be ahead of the game. And yes, I value that. And yes, there are qualities of that which exist within me. But when I'm met with my father's energy and let's say this energy of urgency that I naturally create within myself, I'm not saying that it's like my dad's showing up that way specifically, but it's like my perception of it. My perception is that my dad's coming at me with these urgencies, and I felt from a very young age that I always have to be available for these urgencies when in fact I don't. When in fact these answers can wait, which they most certainly can. And I know logically that my dad respects my time, respects my work. And so shooting him a message and being like, I'm about to do a masterclass, I will call you when I can afterwards, like, that's fine. It's fine. The world is not blowing up or burning down. And I think sometimes in our journey of boundaries and people pleasing, we're always prompted to assess, where am I making myself available for other people's urgencies before I'm honoring where I'm at myself? And so I sent my dad this message, and what I was thinking about afterwards was, okay, so I'm a bit triggered about this. And I know that when I do call my dad, I don't want to be triggered, because the dynamic between my father and I is when my dad comes to the conversation with his urgencies, I meet him with the same energy. I'm just calling it urgency because I think it'll bring awareness to it. I meet him with that same level of energy, but with a different narrative. My dad might be asking for clarity, for organization, for wanting to be on top of XYZ, and I might meet him with this energy of like, Dad, chill, like it's fine, it's all working out, it's like all in our highest good. And like I'm meeting him with that narrative, but with the same energy, as in like my dad's might be showing up with urgency, and then I'm showing up right back with urgency, even though it doesn't actually match the language that I'm using of like, Dad, just chill. But that was the dynamic of childhood. There was a need for, or a perceived need for, organization and efficiency and XYZ, and then I would get frustrated as like a teenager, and I'd be like, it doesn't matter, like it's fine, like there's other things going on in the world, you know? And so I saw this pattern in myself as I realized, okay, when I call my dad after I have this masterclass, like how do I want to show up? Because I actually want to show up differently. I no longer want to feel into urgency or create more urgency, because I know that if I show up in my urgency energy, that's just going to keep this loop going. So how I decided to approach the situation was, first, I had to bring awareness to my trigger. I had to bring a full awareness into what's here for me, and how can I choose to show up differently to generate a different result in this family dynamic? So what I decided to do was like, how do I want to show up? How do I desire this phone call, this meeting to go? And I was like, I desire it to be relaxed and ease-filled. And I was tuning into Qigong Zo. Recently I did Qigong training, and I have felt more at peace and more at ease and more calm since then than ever before. I've been able to access this whole new state of being. So I was like, well, I want to show up as like Zenned out Qigong Zo. And so I did. So I decided, I calmed my nervous system, regulated myself, and then called my dad. And you know, a previous way of being would have been anticipating, I'm going to have to answer all these questions. I'm going to feel like my dad might be stressed out, and I'm going to want to show up a certain way. But instead, I showed up ease-filled, and I was like, it's all good. It's all organized. This is the answer. This. I didn't make it mean anything, and I didn't feed into any type of dynamic. And you know what? My dad answered the phone super ease-filled and relaxed and calm and peaceful. It was so interesting because that's just how I decided to show up, and I was met with that same energy. We are the creators of our reality, and we have a choice in how things go for us. And I was deciding that this gets to be easy now. I'm going to pattern interrupt this dynamic, and I'm going to show up as Qigong Zen Zo, and that's the way that it's going to be now. And that's the way that it was. And I had a great conversation with my dad and my stepmom. They felt super organized. I felt into even more excitement about them coming here. And it was easy, because it's always supposed to be easy, you guys. It's just a matter of bringing awareness to like, where are we not letting it be easy for ourselves? Where are we tripping ourselves up? And where are we creating results or narratives or themes or experiences or energy dynamics that are not serving us? If this message is resonating with you, I would love to invite you into Lo and I's latest program, Imperfect and Prosperous. This is an 8-week portal that will usher you into the new paradigm of ease and relaxed receptivity in love, life, and finances. So if you are ready to drop perfectionism, drop imposter syndrome, give yourself more permission than ever before to be yourself and to manifest results effortlessly, easily, with a regulated nervous system to an entirely new level, this is it. This is the program for you, and it is time. It is time to release the old paradigm and shift completely into the new, where you create results through body-led manifesting. I'll be leaving the link below. You'll know if you're called, and we cannot wait to get started on this journey. Have a beautiful, abundant day. Thanks for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoeariel.co. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.